Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. I want to remember two birthdays today. The first is Jean-Paul Sartre, who was born on this day in 1905. The French philosopher who is most closely associated with the philosophy of existentialism. He spoke about freedom, and one of the things he said was that we're all free because we all determine how to react to the situation that we're in. So that, for example, he said that a prisoner, although physically restrained, is in fact free because it's up to them how they deal with the situation of being in prison. But he says, fundamentally, we're not free because this freedom that we have to be responsible for our own reactions is not a choice that we make. We haven't chosen to have that kind of freedom, and therefore fundamentally we're not free. And he indicates that perhaps the fact that we have that responsibility, that it's entirely down to us how we react to things, is a burden. It's something that maybe we wouldn't have chosen to have had we been given the choice, because it makes us very alone. It means that everything is down to us and the responsibility is on our shoulders. We can't blame anybody else or any institution or structure for anything that upsets us or confuses us or bewilders us. We just have to accept that we alone are responsible for our feelings and how we react. The other person I want us to remember today is Dame Cicely Saunders, who was born on this day in 1918. She was the founder of the hospice movement. She started St Christopher's Hospice in South London, and it set a model for what we all know about now as a very effective way of helping people at the end of their days to face death and to die in peace and with respect. But she, in one of her articles, wrote about a conversation she'd had with a patient. I once asked a man who knew he was dying, she writes, what he needed most from all those who were trying to care for him. And he said, for someone to look as if they're trying to understand me. And it's an interesting way of putting it, isn't it? Because he's saying, I realise no one's fully going to understand me. It's not possible. In other words, Sartre was right. There is a kind of loneliness. But to have somebody who really cares enough to make the attempt to try to understand me is sufficient. And so today, as we go about those probably routine things, but things where we have made the decision to do them and how we react to what happens to us, let's be grateful that actually we're not alone, that there are people who are trying to understand us, even if they never fully can. And let's make the renewed attempt ourselves to try to understand those around us, even those whom it sometimes seems are really difficult to comprehend.